Illegal immigration continues to be a hotly debated topic in the United States, with significant implications for the nation's economy, workforce, and public services. The issue has sparked discussions around border security, labor markets, and the strain on resources, all while being shaped by the policies of the current administration. This video explores the current state of illegal immigration, its effects on American workers, the economy, and public services, and examines the role of the Biden administration in managing these challenges. In June 2023, the Federation of American Immigration Reform, or FAIR, estimated that approximately 16.8 million individuals were residing in the United States illegally, a notable increase from the 15.5 million estimates recorded in January 2022. This rise reflects the ongoing complexities and challenges of managing unauthorized immigration. On October 31, 2023, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas testified before the Senate Homeland Security Committee, revealing that over 600,000 individuals had entered the United States illegally without being apprehended by border agents during the 2023 fiscal year. This statistic highlights the persistent difficulties faced by enforcement agencies in securing the nation's borders. Each year, thousands more attempt to enter the country illegally. They use various methods, including crossing the southern border, overstaying visas, and employing sophisticated smuggling networks. The southern border, particularly between the U.S. and Mexico, remain a hotspot of tension and enforcement challenges. A significant portion of illegal immigrants come from Latin American countries. Mexico leads this list, followed by countries such as Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. These migrants often flee violence, economic instability, and political unrest in their home countries. Impact on U.S. borders. The U.S. border crisis has intensified in recent years, with a record surge in illegal immigration creating significant strain on border security and resources. In 2021 and 2022, U.S. Customs and Border Protection encountered over 2.3 million migrants, overwhelming border facilities and leading to humanitarian challenges, including overcrowded detention centers and hundreds of migrant deaths due to harsh conditions. The situation has also heightened concerns over drug smuggling, with Mexican cartels exploiting the chaos to traffic drugs like fentanyl. Billions have been spent on personnel surveillance and infrastructure, but border states like Texas and Arizona have faced mounting pressure, often initiating their own security measures. The expiration of Title 42, which allowed swift expulsions during the pandemic, further complicates the crisis, as both federal and state governments grapple with policy solutions. Politically, illegal immigration remains a divisive issue, with ongoing debates about balancing stricter enforcement with more humane treatment of immigrants. The financial toll is also substantial, with estimates suggesting that illegal immigration costs U.S. taxpayers over $182 billion annually in areas such as healthcare, education, and law enforcement. The U.S. border crisis remains one of the nation's most pressing challenges, requiring coordinated efforts to address security concerns while upholding humanitarian principles. The economic impact of illegal immigration in the U.S. is a topic of ongoing debate. Illegal immigrants contribute to the economy by filling labor shortages in sectors such as agriculture, construction, and hospitality, where low-skilled labor is in high demand. A 2020 report by the Institution on Taxation and Economic Policy estimated that undocumented immigrants contribute approximately $11.7 billion annually in state and local taxes, including sales, property, and income taxes. Many also pay into Social Security and Medicare without receiving benefits, contributing to the system's solvency. However, they also increase the demand for public services such as healthcare and education. For instance, a study by the Center for Immigration Studies suggested that the cost of educating undocumented children or children of undocumented immigrants was approximately $59.8 billion in 2022. On the other hand, taxpayer money is spent on services for illegal immigrants, particularly in healthcare and law enforcement. A 2021 analysis by the Federation for American Immigration Reform estimated that the annual cost of illegal immigration to U.S. taxpayers was around $182 billion, including healthcare costs, welfare, education, and law enforcement. Medicaid, emergency room visits, and uncompensated care are significant burdens on the healthcare system, costing about $23.1 billion annually as of 2022. With increasing numbers of illegal immigrants crossing the border in recent years, those costs are expected to rise. For example, U.S. Border Patrol apprehensions reached over 2 million in fiscal year 2022, and the federal government allocated $15 billion for border enforcement and immigration control in 2023 alone. These figures highlight the complex balance between the economic contributions of illegal immigrants and the cost to taxpayers. The U.S. government has faced rising costs in housing illegal immigrants, particularly through renting hotels to manage surges at the southern border and overcrowding at detention facilities. In 2021, the Department of Homeland Security spent over $86.9 million in a single-month period on hotel contracts, with these expenses increasing in 2022 and 2023. For example, New York City alone spent more than $650 million in 2023 to shelter migrants. Critics argue that paying up to $400 per night for hotel rooms is an inefficient use of taxpayer money, contributing to a potential annual cost of over $5 billion by 2024 for temporary housing, food, and healthcare services. Immigration can negatively impact American workers, especially in low-skilled labor markets. An influx of immigrant labor can increase competition for jobs, driving down wages and limiting opportunities for native-born workers. As businesses often hire cheaper immigrant labor, this can displace American workers, particularly in industries such as construction, agriculture, and manufacturing, where lower wages are common. Additionally, the pressure on wages can widen income inequality and strain public resources. With more people competing for limited jobs, benefits like healthcare, housing, and education can become overstretched, reducing the quality of services for American workers. This economic strain can particularly harm less educated or lower-income citizens who already face challenges in finding well-paying employment. The relationship between illegal immigration and crime in the U.S. remains a highly debated issue, with different views on the impact of undocumented immigrants on public safety. Data from various studies show that, contrary to popular belief, undocumented immigrants tend to commit crimes at lower rates than native-born Americans. Studies show that undocumented immigrants in the U.S. tend to commit crimes at lower rates than native-born Americans. Data from the Texas Department of Public Safety reveals U.S.-born citizens are more than twice as likely to be arrested for violent crimes and 2.5 times more likely for drug-related crimes. In Texas, undocumented immigrants are also 47% less likely to be convicted of a crime. While individual cases of serious crimes involving undocumented immigrants, such as drug or human trafficking, do exist, overall research from 2022 to 2024 suggests they are less involved in criminal activities compared to the general U.S. population. But still, allowing illegal undocumented immigrants from other countries without checking their background is nothing less than foolishness, and we don't even know how accurate these studies are. Illegal immigration has had a significant impact on public lands in the United States, particularly in areas along the U.S.-Mexico border. The extensive foot traffic of individuals crossing the border illegally often leads to environmental degradation. Footpaths and makeshift campsites formed by migrants and smugglers contribute to soil erosion, destruction of native vegetation, and disruption of wildlife habitats. The accumulation of litter, human waste, and abandoned personal items further strains these ecosystems, negatively affecting plants and animal species. For example, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has documented habitat loss and threats to endangered species in wildlife refuges near the border, like the Cabeza Prieta National Wildlife Refuge in Arizona. Managing the environmental impact of illegal immigration on public lands has required increased federal and state funding for land management agencies. These agencies often divert resources from conservation and recreational management to focus on repairing damages, restoring habitats, and preventing further environmental degradation. Furthermore, constructing and maintaining border infrastructure such as walls and patrol roads can also fragment ecosystems, making it harder for animals to migrate or access resources. As a result, illegal immigration poses a multifaceted challenge to the preservation of natural landscapes and resources along the southern border, putting additional strain on efforts to conserve these vital areas. The Biden administration has faced significant challenges in managing illegal immigration with mixed results. On one hand, the administration aimed to address root causes by focusing on improving legal pathways for immigration, enhancing border security, and addressing humanitarian concerns like asylum processes. However, illegal crossings surged in 2021, and although numbers declined after the lifting of Title 42, the administration's policies like expanding parole programs have been criticized for failing to deter illegal immigration effectively. Many migrants, particularly those not from Mexico or Central America, are released into the U.S. interior due to capacity limits and legal restrictions on detention, complicating enforcement efforts. Critics have pointed to increased numbers of gotaways, migrants who evade capture at the border, as a significant security risk. From 2021 onward, about 2 million individuals managed to enter without detection, including those with criminal backgrounds.
8.5 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border since Joe Biden took office.
The administration's policy of catch and release, where migrants are given notices to appear in court and released, have been controversial. In 2024, it's estimated that about 617,000 undocumented immigrants with criminal records are still free. This combination of overwhelmed border enforcement, limited detention capacity, and scaled-back deportations has drawn criticism from both sides of the political spectrum. Illegal immigration continues to be a complex issue with wide-ranging impacts on the United States. From economic effects to public safety and educational resources, the consequences of illegal immigration are significant. Addressing the issue requires a nuanced approach that balances security, economic needs, and humanitarian considerations. As the situation evolves, it will be crucial for policymakers to navigate these challenges effectively to ensure a fair and secure immigration system.